Warning. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are warned that the following program contains images, references to, and voices of deceased persons. Viewer discretion is advised.
Coming from the vault, the 1994 Collingwood versus Aboriginal All Stars game. To put the black and white stripes on for the first time at a place that I'd grown up for, pretty much most of the last decade, it was pretty significant. There was, mum and dad were there, my sister was there, a lot of people that I'd gone to school with, and I had played a couple of games for NT against other VFL clubs of the day, actually, either at Marrara or at Gardens. So this one was a little bit different to be on the other side, playing against even though it was an Indigenous side, it was at in the NT and on an NT ground, and it sort of felt like I was the enemy. I was on the other side for once.
To put on the Aboriginal All Stars jumper was very special, and at the time, my older brother Maurice had been appointed coach, so. That was very exciting, and I wasn't really expected to get a phone call, and there's a phone call from my brother Maurice. Actually, his words were, "Are you able to play?" I'm thinking, play? What do you mean play? In the All Stars game, wanting to select you, obviously. And I thought at the time, he's pulling my leg. Willie as well. He's being youngest out of the family as well, so very special to have one of your older brothers coaching, and then also another younger brother playing in the team as well. Very special.
My experiences of growing up in Darwin in not just an Indigenous community, but a very multicultural community. A large Asian population as well. So, and my mum and Dad brought me up to see people and to treat people as equals, and to give everyone a chance, no matter their background, no matter their religious sort of beliefs. So I think Darwin taught me that, and Mum and Dad definitely brought me up that way. To see some of the incidents that took place at the Nicky Winmar at Vic Park in '93, and I suppose some of the subsequent attitudes that became prevalent, even around the commentary of that incident, post that, were not ideal. But they exposed some things that needed to be exposed, no doubt. So those prejudices that I didn't really understand because I'd lived in the community and didn't feel that there was any different, and understood that we were all part of the same community as a young man. So for some of those prejudices to be exposed and attitudes to be exposed, it always seems to happen at the top end, and it always seems to happen where there's more focus and more media around it. So I think that's been a really strong element of the AFL over the last 3 decades. For instance, we now have a racial and religious vilification process. People are held to account if there is any vilification that takes place, and all of it potentially had its beginnings through this period in the early 90s, which was a culmination of people saying enough's enough, we're not going to accept this on our sporting fields anymore. For Collingwood, it was a form of mea culpa. We knew that our president at the time, Al McAllister, had been quoted post the Nicky Winmar incident. I think it was Joe Kelly who pointed the bone at us and had put a hex on the club. So I think as players we felt like we were representing a more positive and inclusive and I suppose apologetic stance for the football club and potentially for the wider football community.
I got a call saying, from the older brother Maurice, the coach, saying, would like you to play, and which you've been selected. And I rang back a few days later, and a good friend of mine in Perth had passed away. So I said, look, and that was the week leading up to the game. I said, I contacted Maurice to say, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to withdraw. I've got to go to Perth for a funeral. And he mentioned, can we work around it? Are you able to return in time for the game? I said, at this stage, I'm returning. The game was, I think, Saturday afternoon. I said I was returning Saturday morning, catching an early morning flight from Perth for a funeral. So I said, look, I'm going to be pretty buggered. Not the best preparation. Sitting on a plane for 4 hours, and yes. I said, look, I'm just going to have to withdraw. He said, no, you can have your rest on the plane. You can have a few hours sleep on the plane. I said, oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, from that, I guess that sort of, so I missed I think we only had a training run once, the team that got together. So I missed all that, the team photos. So I think I left on a Wednesday. They trained on the Wednesday or Thursday. The team did, the All Stars team, out at Marrara. So on the team photos and everything else, obviously missed out on that, but returned in time for the game on Saturday. So I think we had a team meeting, get together, I think at the Tracy Village Sports Club. I think before we headed down to the game, yes, to the Oval. So on that side of things, very special, and to play again, play with the players that we did have, the team that we have, captained by, Magic McLean. They're very special. So, and quite a few players, I think, around Australia. From Perth, Canberra, I remember. Sydney, a number of players. I think there was about 9 or 10 players selected from the NTFL competition at the time. So, very special. And to get a win and just the crowd was just amazing. To do a lap of honour. Very sort of special, I guess, when the Prime Minister's, attending the game, and then, before the game, I guess you're getting your hands are getting shaken by him, so the Prime Minister at the time. So, always going to be special and very memorable as well.
I actually spoke with Craig Kelly when I knew I was going to do this interview, and he was the acting captain of the time. He tells me that he remembers playing on a tall, skinny dude who was leading out from full-back and just ran him around and just ran circles around him. Apparently he kicked 6 goals, he reckons. So I remember that guy was Dennis Dunn. And he starred against nearly every AFL or VFL side that played up on the Australia Day games, and he turned it on this game as well. I remember it was in the heat of the day, like the broadcast times for Melbourne were better to have it at a certain time of the day, and growing up in Darwin, I know that 1:30 is not a great time to be out in the sun. It's when the humidity's at its peak around that time of year. And I've felt like you want to dig a hole for yourself and disappear at times throughout my entire junior career. Graham Wright was from Tassie, and he melted, could not handle the humidity or the heat, and a few of our boys were in the same boat. So it was a tough environment for the Collingwood boys, and I think the All Stars took advantage accordingly.
Most Indigenous players are very excited, and I think it's just go out and have a bit of fun also, and you play for your. I think Majo was very strong with play for one another, play as like a brotherhood sort of, for the jumper that you're wearing, and and that was very strong from Majo really. I can remember him always saying, this is for us. We're playing as one, like a brotherhood. For the jumper, and we're representing our people. So just on those were very strong from Majo.
Now let's take a look at the squads. Some players, quite a lot of players, aren't available for Collingwood. There are 8 interchange players, so a squad of 26. So the interchange bench will get a big workout.
Yeah, certainly, Drew. It's an interesting squad there. Of course, a couple of their star players won't be performing this afternoon. Tony Francis will not be playing, along with a couple of their really good performers throughout the season last year who will be missing out, but pretty good squad there. Severio Rocker's been terrific at full forward, kicked over 70 goals last year. Damien Monkhurst should be able to control the ruck, and a lot of interest in Nathan Buckley, who will be probably playing around centre-half forward, centre, on-ball sort of position, but I was just watching him kicking for goal earlier, and some magnificent shots for goal.
And there's the Collingwood squad. Craig Kelly acting captain today. Gavin Brown appointed captain, but injured and not playing. And the All Stars line up their squad of 26.
Well, I think the interest there is in the players that we obviously haven't heard of, particularly down in the southern states. Graham Parantutamirri, Michael Ratuma, Shane Cable, of course, from Western Australia, the son of Barry Cable. Cyril Rioli, related, of course, to Maurice Rioli, who's the coach of the All Stars. We've seen Francis Jeffrey, Adam Kiranawa, David Scooter. These players are all playing in the competition here, a couple of them playing in the South Australian Football League and the West Australian Football League.
There's 11 players from the AFL, 6 from state leagues, and 9 from the Northern Territory Football League.
Warren Campbell, Drew, you know a little bit about him. His father was, or is Basil Campbell, who played a lot of football.
Played State of Origin for Western Australia, played for South Fremantle. So it'll be interesting to see Warren Campbell here today.
Joe Smith, Dennis Dunn, Derek Kickett, of course. I'll be interested to see how Derek Kickett goes, because he left the AFL scene, or it looks as though he's left the AFL scene in a pretty ordinary way, I think, being left out of that grand final side from Essendon.
And 3 umpires in season 1994, Hayden Kennedy, Jeff Caulfield and Murray Bird in action today. The ground looks an absolute picture. It is humid, all right, about 95% humidity, but it's not as hot as it gets up here because of the cloud cover. And I think Collingwood will be very happy about that, Bernie.
Certainly a couple of the older players will be, with Peter Dacos and Tony Shaw trying to prove themselves once again. I see Peter Dacos lining up on Michael McLean, probably in the centre, or an on-ball role anyway. But Michael McLean, of course, Brisbane Bears best and fairest last year, second time that he's won that award. So a big job for Peter Dacos.
Clinton Wolfe in the ruck for the All Stars, a West Australian dual premiership player. Number 29, up he goes, and he wins out of the middle, but it's blocked there by Dacos. He's swamped, tackles high, and the free kick goes to the magician, Peter Dacos. Well, an important game for Pete and for Tony Shaw. Their careers perhaps on the line in these practice games early in the season. Richardson up towards half forward. Backing back into this one and taking a good mark is Willie Rioli, to the shouts of the crowd.
Well, I think if Collingwood thought it was going to be a picnic, the first tackle on Dacos would soon give them an idea that it's a fair dinkum game of football here at Marrara. And it's kicked away there by Gilbert McAdam up towards centre-half forward. Was that a mark? Nearly to Ugle. He switches onto the right foot, kicks it wide.
You get the free, Robbo.
A free kick. It's going back. Is it towards the centre where Ugle was held a little too high?
I thought the mark could have almost been paid there. It's a good effort from Ugle, a good lead.
Gives away a lot of ground and comes out wide to Cyril Rioli. He's on centre wing. He's kicking towards half forward. Not too bad. A little bit too high for the player intended. A chance now for Joe Smith. They're swamped at half forward, the Aboriginal All Stars team. Ugle's in the middle of the action again, but Collingwood get clear. Fraser and Christian combine. A sweeping hand pass. It goes wide. Chance now for young Curley. His hand pass onto McCartney. McCartney from 50 metres. A beautiful kick by McCartney. It's the first goal of the game. Good build-up by the Magpies on that far side of the ground, Bernie.
Yes, out of defence. They moved the ball well down that outer wing. And Jason McCartney, who kicked 4 goals last Monday night in Collingwood's loss to St Kilda, has played a lot of his football on the half-back line. A good-looking player, a big, solid boy. Can kick the ball very nicely, as we saw in that instance. Great kick for goal, McCartney.
He did play all of his junior football from nil at centre-half forward.
Clinton Wolfe goes up in ruck again. Down goes Richardson. Ball underfoot, and the umpire will ball it up. There's Wolfe, Claremont player, and they've come from all states and all territories. Tasmania represented, so ACT all over the place.
And what a great crowd we've got in here to watch this game.
Absolutely fantastic. They've had a feast of football already. Dacos takes it off the hands, drives it to centre half forward. Rocker works to the front. The ball from behind by Jeffrey was good. Rioli's hand pass is grabbed well. And the All Stars come out of defence through Shane Cable. Up towards centre wing. Beautiful dodging and weaving here by Karanua, who had a season with the Brisbane Bears. Great pick-up on the half volley by Jamie Lawson, the Sydney Swans player. Out wide, number 26 is Joe Smith, a West Australian. It's coming up the ground. It's an All Stars kick.
Maybe a player up in the forward line being held there. It looks like it might be McAdam, is it? No, it's not McAdam.
The free kick's going against Craig Kelly. I think this is where the third umpire's come into the play already, Robbo, because he's in that 50-metre area and can watch what's going on in that area. And obviously Craig Kelly holding before the ball got down there.
It's not McAdam. It could be done for the All Stars. Going for goal. It's a good kick. It's a goal. Goal kick by Dennis Dunn. So the scores are level early in this very important match between Collingwood and the Aboriginal All Stars. They've each kicked a goal.
There's already that third umpire having an effect on this match. Being trialled here this afternoon at the Northern Territory, the Marrara ground.
Having only been out of the game for, what, 3 or 4 years, what do you think of that as an introduction? Plus, a big plus?
It is a big plus for the full forwards especially. There's no doubt about that, because the fullbacks have, in the past, got away with a fair bit of interference before the ball gets down to that area. And I think it will work very much in the favour of the full forward.
Well, the 95% humidity, a bit of a problem, but 25 degrees, not too bad. Scores level, a goal apiece. Big leap by Richardson, gets it going Collingwood's way. Now Rioli, Cyril Rioli has been prominent early on his half-back flank. His kick out towards left centre wing, Krasiska in front, happy to see the ball out.
Chased there by Fabian Francis, whose mother is the president of the club up here, the Southern Districts Football Club, his mother Teresa.
Wolf doing the rucking for the All Stars. There's a high tackle. Oh, no whistle on that. Out of there was Cable. A high kick to half forward. Derek Kickett. No mark. Ball close to the boundary line and eventually goes out. Well, it was great to see Derek Kickett flying for that one. He didn't complete the mark. Amazing that he played all games last year for the Bombers, but didn't play in the grand final. So what of his future now in football? Here he goes, Derek Kickett. There was no room through there. Hand pass was blocked off the hand of Willie Rioli. Dodging, weaving, that's clever by Karanua. Pace by Ugle. Near the boundary line, a centering kick. Chance for the All Stars. Couldn't drag down the mark. Houlihan in defence for Collingwood. Goes back with his hand pass. Butcher.
And he gets it across to Tony Shaw. A wide kick by Shaw. Goes out in the direction of his Collingwood teammate. That was Hassel. That's still at half back for the Magpies. Getting closer towards the wing. Dacos is in the middle of the action. A chance there for Sanderson. He got it across to Buckley. Buckley in trouble. Got the handball away. Opportunity for Butcher. He's dumped. Sanderson in there again, but it's knocked away by McLean over the boundary line. And we'll have a throw in. It's at left half forward for the Collingwood side. About 65, 70 metres around from their goal. The ruckman there for Collingwood is Jason McCartney up against Wolf. The ball comes to the back. McLean, not much time, so he had to handball quickly. Wolf tries to get it clear. Sanderson, number 17 for Collingwood. Here's Buckley. Buckley, who loves to bomb away. It's a lovely kick by Buckley. Close to the line. It's helped over for a rush behind to Collingwood. So they take the lead by that score. 1-1 Collingwood. The Aboriginal All Stars are 1 goal straight.
Now, of course, the bookmakers operating on football up here in the top end. And Brian Clark there, the Aussies offering for the flag on the left and the 6 on the right. He's not betting on the 8, he's betting on the top 6. Kick up towards centre wing. Good distance from Chris Lewis. And free kick to the All Stars. And this one to be taken by Joe Smith. To half forward, McAdam. Gilbert McAdam, having left St Kilda and going up to the Brisbane Bears this year. Gets around the man on the mark, drives the kick to the forward pocket, and Dunn couldn't take the mark. Offhands it goes to Kelly, and the ball goes out of play.
Free kick, deliberate.
There's a big chance there for the mark to be taken, wasn't it, there by Dennis Dunn?
And it was a pretty blatant out of bounds on the full by Kelly.
Kick it for goal. Poster. Not a bad kick by Derek Kickett.
Well, I don't think anyone's ever doubted the skills of Derek Kickett, explosive player in the AFL, starting with North Melbourne, then going to Essendon, and now playing with the All Stars this afternoon. Here's Kelly to kick in. He goes to the far side of the ground. A good long kick by that player. It goes wide. Kickett gathers. Too fierce, the handball for Francis. He's able to recover. Short kick by Rioli, and a good mark taken by Jamie Lawson, and he's well within scoring distance. Oh, he goes quickly. He probably had a chance to line that up a little bit better than he did, and he missed to the right-hand side.
I'm not sure what he tried to do there, Robbo. I don't know whether he was trying to pass it or... Well, there's certainly no need to go back and kick it that quickly.
Certainly too long the kick if it was a pass, wasn't it? Now Kelly goes straight down the ground. McLean in good position. In goes Buckley, but McLean's got the better recovery. Sweeping hand pass, a little short. It's brilliantly cut off for Collingwood is Williams. Williams gets the handball away for Buckley. Buckley in towards centre half forward. No mark taken by Plain. It's picked up by Dale Kickett. He goes wide. The mark out there taken by Russell Jeffrey. His kick into the centre of the ground. Loose player is Francis. Sweeping hand pass. McLean. McLean from 60 metres. Straight towards goal. Back there is Ugle. Can he control the football? Chasing him is Watson. Ugle gets the hand pass away. Free kick.
Free kick to Ugle.
That's the way the umpire sees it.
Just a little bit too severe there with Shane Watson playing in the back pocket on Troy Ugle. Here we see it again. Ugle getting the hand pass away and ridden into the ground there by Watson.
Well, Ugle has a shot for goal from about 25 metres out. Difficult angle. His kick. It looks pretty good from here. It's a goal. And have a listen to the crowd reaction.
Well, it's pretty even under support, Robbo. There's great support here for the Aboriginal All Stars side, but also the Collingwood team have had wonderful support also. They've come from everywhere to support the Collingwood side. You see the emergencies or the interchange just having a run around the boundary line. There's not too much need to really warm up here, but I would certainly appreciate the cooler conditions here at Collingwood than when they did play here last time.
Back in the middle for the ball up. The All Stars 2-2, Collingwood 1-1. Wolf. Richardson beats him. Ball comes underfoot, and the umpire will ball it up again. Interesting to see Mark Richardson doing the rucking, and Damien Monkhorst starting the game on the bench. He's got plenty of company there. 8 players on the bench for each side. Richardson, well, neither ruckman can clear it this time. Ball knocked out by Williams, gathered here by Rioli. The kick comes back to Rioli. Lawson. High tackle, and Lawson will take the free kick.
A great smother there by Nathan Buckley in that passage of play, Drew.
Jamie Lawson's kick. Ugle leads wide and marks. No, he doesn't. Right on the All Stars logo. And a little kick goes out of bounds, just on the bounce, and we'll have a throw in near the interchange gate, which should be busy today. Lee Matthews, no need for the peak cap today. Not like a couple of Tropics games that Collingwood have played in the last few years.
Any chance Lee Matthews is sponsored by Foster's? Here's a chance now for the All Stars. It's Francis playing the ball close to the boundary line, and it goes over. Tony Shaw there to apply a little bit of pressure. So we'll have a throw in. Fabian Francis, still just 20 years of age, so big future for him. Opportunity for McLean. Helping out there was Lawson, but it's taken by Fraser. Fraser's kick towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Slipping over there was Michael Ratuma. The ball spills free. Nearly an opportunity there for Collingwood through Curley, but the ball held in by the Aboriginal defence. And we'll have a ball up just wide of centre half forward for Collingwood, about 55 metres from their goal. Peter Dacos there has already been quite prominent. McCartney jumps into Wolf, so Wolf will take the free kick. Pretty obvious. Handballs away for Darryl White. Very skilled player, Darryl White. Away for Ugle, who's probably been best man on the ground so far in the game. A lovely long kick by Ugle to centre half forward. The big punch was by Houlihan. It spills for Krasiska. His kick goes wide. Player on his own. Out there is Curley. He's had a couple of touches, so Collingwood will be impressed with that form. He's kicking towards full forward. No mark taken. Ball spills to the ground. In trouble, the All Stars defence. And a free kick.
That could have been holding the ball. Instead of that, it was ruled high.
Bit lucky, Ratuma. And he has the free kick in the back pocket.
Yes, he did. He tried to fend off Big Sav Rocker there. A good tackle there in the end by Rocker.
Short pass, mark taken by Wolf. He's behind centre half back. Bit of trouble here, perhaps. Here's Cyril Rioli again prominent. The kick out wide. Dale Kickett. With Essendon this year. He's been with many clubs. The kick by Kickett. It's punched out by Kelly. Here's Derek Kickett. Outnumbered about 4-1, Derek Kickett. He loses control of it. Collingwood across the half-back line. Hassel. It's socked away by Ugle. There's a pace race. Ugle and Williams, and the ball goes out of play. Maurice Rioli, the coach of the All Stars.
Can he see from there? Need to be a bit taller.
Well, there's a big mob. He was surrounded by people, wasn't he? Here's Francis on the 50. Takes it defensively. Back to Ugle. Knocking up, getting the ball, Troy Ugle. A centering kick is perfect to Lawson, but he's back in the centre square. Can't get home from there. Looking for movement on the forward line. He's got something from Derek Kickett. Not happy about it. Comes out to Wolf. He palms off the would-be tackler Buckley. Kerenua. Almost a one-hander by Ugle. Tony Shaw, a little hand pass. Williams sees it over the boundary line, and a throw-in.
The player there for the All Stars, Chris Lewis, just not quite into the game yet, but there's plenty of time left. The All Stars lead 2-2 to 1-1. About halfway through the first quarter. The umpires picked a free kick out of the ruck contest, and it's going to Wolf, who's done a pretty good job so far. Handball's back to McLean. McLean has a look, kicks into the pocket. Kickett can't quite take the mark. Houlihan there to help the ball over for a boundary throw in about 35 metres as Wolf takes a rest on the interchange bench, and his place is taken by Jason Jones, who's number 21. So in the forward pocket for the All Stars, Watson trying to force the ball clear. In goes Tony Shaw, beaten for it by Derek Kickett. A bomb away. Oh, up high. Was done. Nearly took the mark of the day. Brilliant handball. Francis gets the goal for the All Stars. What a spectacular leap by Dennis Dunn. And he was able to recover and get the handball away. And another goal result.
Let's just have a look at this in replay. That leap there from Dennis Dunn, fantastic effort, was able to recover. They've got great ground skills, some of these Aboriginal players, and good backing up there by Fabian Francis, finishing off that great attempt there from Dennis Dunn.
Well, Collingwood behind the 8 ball already, trailing 3-2 to 1-1. Mark Richardson still doing the rucking for Collingwood. Palms it straight to Ugle. Ugle dishes the ball out. In goes Tony Shaw. A little kick. Here's Dale Kickett. Tries to keep the ball in. Only for his opponent, though. Now Kickett has it back. Couldn't get boot to ball. He's holding it. Collingwood quickly go on with it. That was Curley. On to Dacos. He's on the 50. Magic Pete. He goes long. Rocker. Behind. Gee, we'd love to see him keep going, Peter Dacos. 250 games, but he managed just 5 last season.
Russell Jeffrey kicks the ball back into play, and have a guess who's got it. Ugle, probably possession number 8. Handball over the top. A chance for Kiranauer. Back to Ugle. Ugle, long kick, and it's not bad either. Into the pocket, nearly a mark taken for the All Stars there by Joe Smith.
Just a lack of talk there, Robbo. The man going back with the flight of the ball there, Fabian Francis, he really had to go for it, and Smith should have done the talking.
Well, maybe Maurice Rioli can point that out to that young fellow. Nathan Buckley tries to get it clear, he does. Houlihan from half-back, recruited as a forward. His kick goes in, plain marks, away for Dacos. Little kick by Dacos. finds Fraser. He'll nearly kick a goal here, Mark Fraser. He goes long, and it's a great kick straight through the centre. A very, very quick player is Mark Fraser across the centre line for the Magpies, and he gets their second goal.
Yeah, he's a very pacey player. Probably had an ordinary season last year by his standards from the previous season. But he is a player with extreme pace, as we see him breaking away there. Good kick from the 50-metre line. And there again, the Aboriginal All Star side's got about 15 players with that sort of pace in it.
My word.
Haven't they?
Yep.
Great players.
Back in the middle, and Jason Jones just on the ground. A beautiful palm down, and Francis, but the mark taken by Christian at centre half back. He gets support from Kelly, but it's going to be a 50-metre penalty. Man getting over the mark, Joe Smith. Krasiska gives Christian a run. Up to the 50, Rocker wide, good mark. And a terrific pass.
Had a great year last year, Severio Rocker, 73 goals. Averaging just under 4 goals a match for the 93 season.
He'll be kicking from 45 metres. Now he goes from 50 and makes it easily, but not the accuracy. It's a behind.
Interesting trying to work out where players do play. I noticed now Krasiska is inside the forward 50-metre line for Collingwood. He took the hand pass at centre half back that eventually fed the ball to Rocker, who had that shot for goal. Jeffrey now kicks it back in. Looks in there for Gilbert McAdam, but Francis is able to gather.
He's having a game.
Yes, good player, Fabian Francis. I think if he realises it himself, he'll be a much better player. He's got the ball again. Oh, scrubber of a kick. Falls in short where Butcher picks it off, and Butcher goes bang in towards full forward. Rocker interfered by Russell Jeffrey. Russell Jeffrey probably a little disappointed with that decision. I just hope those third umpires don't go overboard.
I don't think there's much doubt in it. The free kick was there, if only momentarily, Robbo. It was a high tackle.
Yeah, well, there's 100 free kicks in a game if that was a free kick. Jeffrey, the man on the mark. Rocker, the shot for goal. He's only 25 metres out, and he doesn't miss those. Sav Rocker kicks his first goal. Collingwood get their third, and they lead by a point.
It's one of the stars on the horizon is Severio Rocker. As I said, he kicked over 70 goals last year, averaging just on 3.7 goals a match. A big boy, can play in the ruck, centre half forward, and I think has a very bright future.
There are the Collingwood interchanges, and the All Stars are using the interchange. Off goes Lawson, and on comes Matthew Armat, and also Derek Kickett has left the ground. And getting his first run, Warren Campbell. Jason Jones has won his 2 taps decisively. Play on, says the umpire. On the run is Kerenua, who's making it hard for Buckley, and Kerenua with a long shot for goal just misses.
It's a bit of a feather in the cap of those younger players to get a game in this team, because they've come straight out of the Northern Territory Football League. So it's a big plus for them.
I'd say.
Oh, great tackle there.
It was. And they forced the ball out of play. Hassel.
A tackle there from the new player on the ground, Warren Campbell, for the Aboriginal All Stars. Terrific effort. A fierce tackle on the Collingwood player there, keeping the ball in that forward line.
Richardson can't really get his hands to the ball cleanly in the ruck. Going to be a free kick here to Collingwood. Coming to Krasiska. Warren Campbell, who's just come on the ground. I was talking to Maurice Rioli during the week. He said his father, Basil Campbell, delivered a magnificent blow to Don Scott in the first State of Origin game in 1977. Poor Maurice remembered that one. I just thought I'd pass that on to our Channel 7 viewers.
I wonder if Don Scott would remember it. The play on centre wing. It's forced forward by the All Stars, but the umpire is going to bring it back to the centre wing area, where a free kick has been awarded out there, and it looks as though it's going to Darryl White.
Yes, he's being held by McCartney behind the play there, Robbo. There's very little the players can get away with now with the 3 umpires.
Well, fair enough. White's kick in towards the centre of the ground. The mark is taken by Matthew Armat, that Drew mentioned has just come onto the ground. A short kick by that player, and the mark quite clearly taken there by Joe Smith. He kicks quickly in towards centre half forward. Well, the top effort there by Dunn. Couldn't quite take the mark, but he went after it again and at least held the ball in about 52 metres from the All Stars goal. They trail, no, well, they don't trail. Their scores are level here. Close to quarter time in this, well, very important game between the All Stars and Collingwood. Collingwood, I'm sure, want to win. Their pride's at stake. Ball forced forward. Watson comes out and clears towards left half back. Ball bounces free in that zone. Butcher, close to the boundary line, keeps it in. Gets around, no, he's held. Gets the handball away. The All Stars have got the numbers there. A chance now for Lewis for his first real effective possession. Chris Lewis, he's kicking towards half forward, and the mark this time, a great mark taken by Dennis Dunn, who's an exciting prospect. Has play been allowed to go on? I would doubt it. I think the umpire officiating will take it back. It's Hayden Kennedy, and the kick will have to be taken by Dunn.
Yes, of course, no advantage when a mark has been awarded, only from a free kick situation. And Dennis Dunn looks very promising playing at full forward. Very lively, moving around, leading well. And certainly has got a good spring. A couple of occasions has thrilled the crowd, especially when he went back with the flight of the ball there against Craig Kelly and fed it off to Fabian Francis for that other goal.
Well, he's certainly thinks he can kick the distance. It's from just inside 50 metres. It's very close. The goal umpire signals just one behind. Appropriately dressed for these tropical conditions here in Darwin. And there's a young fan who obviously one day will be hoping he's out on this ground. Here's Francis, a boomerang kick. Not really what he was trying to do, I wouldn't think. And he misses to the left-hand pocket. Screw punt kick. Check side, but it's Houlihan to kick it back into play.
Big pack gathers at half-back flank. No mark, comes off hands. And driven forward there by Ahmad. And there's the siren for quarter time. A very entertaining first quarter. And the Aboriginal All Stars leading by a point, 3-4. Collingwood 3-3.
Territory footy from the vault is thanks to these valued partners.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. GIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Time to escape, 'cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Consider the applicable PDS before making an investment decision.
Quarter time, the All Stars by a point, 3-4 to 3-3. For the All Stars, Fabian Francis, Troy Ugle and Dennis Dunn have kicked the goals. And for Collingwood, Fraser, McCartney and Rocker, their goal scorers. Second quarter about to get underway. The ground in magnificent condition. The locals are a bit disappointed that this stormy weather gathered, because they say it's about the first storms really of any note since about Christmas. So far they've held off. Dacos looks to be being double teamed there, while McLean was brilliant in the clinches. The handball gathered on the bounce. This is brilliant football. Gathering that, there was Gilbert McAdam, and there's a free kick. Francisco holding when the All-Star player wasn't in possession. Free kick to Jones. Now it goes to Cable. Along the ground with his kick. Tony Shaw. Little toe poke out towards centre wing. And the mark taken by Buckley, who's been very quiet. Nathan Buckley. He's virtually coming back home to play in Darwin. I know he has played in Adelaide and Brisbane and all over the country. This is home. Outside half forward. And the mark taken by Williams. He's about 70 metres from goal. No real breeze to speak of, no advantage. Long ball, Rocker, knocked away from him right to the goal line. And it could nearly be a goal. Oh, McCartney claiming it, but no, a point.
He's a danger man, though, Buckley, when he has the ball in his hands, because that beautiful delivery into that forward line, that kick. And there we see McCartney just not able to get the boot to the ball quickly enough.
Well, the ball is with Dale Kickett. He goes in towards centre half back. It's taken now and kicked wide out towards centre wing by McAdam. Collingwood have got 3 around the football, and it's Butcher receiving from Dacos. Kick in towards half forward. Good effort. Got to pay the mark. Top effort by Sanderson, and he's marked about 25 metres out, pretty well straight in front.
He's picked up in the November draft, Brenton Sanderson from South Australia. A few new players here for Collingwood today, and we haven't seen much of Paul Sharkey. Todd Curley. Picked up in the November draft, Aaron James, Jason Wilde, John Hassel, Bradley Plain, of course, the ex-Essendon players on the forward line also.
Sanderson's kick for goal looks pretty good, and it's through for a goal. So Brenton Sanderson's first goal, as we have a look at some of the souvenirs that are on sale here at the football ground. Obviously, a lot of interest in those by all the people.
Well, there'll be something in years to come. Collingwood against the All Stars.
My word, yep. I noticed Bernie Quinlan picked up a pair of shorts with Darwin written all over them, so I guess those memories will come flooding back. Here's Richardson doing the ruck work for the Magpies at the centre of the ground. He's beaten for it. Now through comes Buckley. We speak about him being quiet, and all of a sudden he gets 2 possessions. The second one was an important one. He's forced the ball to within goal-scoring distance. Chance for Plain. He's dragged down by Cable and penalised for not getting rid of the football is Bradley Plain, and the free kick will go to Shane Cable. He kicks it in short. The mark is taken there by Cyril Rioli. His handball goes away for Chris Lewis. Lewis playing in the defensive half for the All Stars. He's kicked towards centre half forward. No mark taken there by Smith. Butcher's little tap on. Chance for Richardson. Gets it across to Fraser. Quickly, couldn't quite control the football. Collingwood in the centre of the ground. May get a free kick. No, it's against them. And the free kick will go to McLean for the All Stars. Michael McLean, the Brisbane Bears, well, you'd have to call him a veteran now, and the kick in towards full forward, the mark is taken by Campbell.
There's good lead there by Campbell. Led early, gave the option there to Michael McLean. A couple of players there leading on the forward line. One was Dennis Dunn, and the ball ending up with Warren Campbell. Started the game on the interchange bench.
We saw Rocker kick a long one from a similar position in the first term. So maybe Campbell, a chance to score for the All Stars. He kicks from just outside 50 metres, striving for distance. It's covered the pack. It's a goal. Well, the players in the square obviously misjudging that, and it's through for a goal to the All Stars and scores a level once again.
Well, so surprisingly, poor defensive work there by Collingwood, because it was a low trajectory kick. I'll get that out properly. And just clearing the hand there of Craig Kelly, but also back there was Mark Richardson. And really, he didn't make any impact at all. No effort really to try to get his hand to that ball.
North Melbourne fans would be keen to see Warren Campbell kick so well. Drafted by North, second pick in the November draft. Dacos out of the middle, up towards half forward. Hand pass is blocked and taken out of bounds in a terrific defensive display there by Dale Kickett. And that was Curley, who did some good things in the first quarter. Todd Curley, a West Perth draft pick for the Pies. Centre wing, kick smothered. Comes to Richardson. Can he throw it out?
Brilliant tackling there, Drew, by the All Stars, putting a lot of pressure on the Collingwood side.
Francis goes short. Cyril Rioli thumps it as long as he can. Beautiful kick. The mark should have been taken down there. Comes off hands to Keranua. He dodges and weaves. Butcher blocks the handball. The All Stars keep it going forward. McAdam in a bit of trouble. Williams. Paul Williams puts it out in space. That's terrific play. Fraser laid it like an egg. Fraser goes back to Butcher. Helga not in possession, and a free kick to the former Geelong player, Kent Butcher, whose season was ruined last year with a broken leg. He kicks up inside half forward. Rocker, there is no chance of getting around him. Little that Jeffrey could do about that.
There's good lead there by the big full forward, Severio Rocker. He really is a promising player. Here's the kick again from Kent Butcher. Great lead. Beautiful delivery of the ball.
Severio's kick one. Goes nowhere near the man on the mark. Kicks from 50 and hooks it for a point.
He does kick the ball prodigious distances, Severio Rocker. Really 50 metres, not a problem at all to him.
Big difference in the physical attributes of Russell Jeffrey and Severio Rocker. Russell Jeffrey must be giving away at least a couple of centimetres.
Oh, definitely, yes. There's no doubt about that, Robbo, making it very difficult. They put themselves in all sorts of trouble here, the All Stars.
What a mistake they could have made here. Curley had the chance. The All Stars will get clear. Lewis's handball, and he finds his teammate, who kicks it well clear in towards the centre of the ground, but it's taken for Collingwood by Hassel, picked off by Rioli. Handball goes back towards Joe Smith. He goes in towards full forward, and the mark is taken by Campbell, and he's got a chance to kick his second goal within 3 minutes.
A clever kick there by Joe Smith, just a little chip on the left foot, just setting it out in front of Campbell, and Campbell with another chance to goal for the All Stars. They're playing great football, the All Stars, really putting in the effort here at this Marrara ground.
And what a great complex this is for the sports people of Darwin, as Campbell comes in to shoot for his second goal. It's a good-looking kick. It's covered the players, and it's another goal. So Warren Campbell kicks his second goal, and the All Stars have got their fifth on the scoreboard, and they lead by 5 points.
Yes, well, he's made an immediate impact. His opponent there, of course, is Damien Houlihan, who came down to Collingwood as a full forward himself. Campbell playing out of that forward pocket. You see Dennis Dunn still playing at full forward for the All Stars, picked up by Craig Kelly.
Mark Richardson still in ruck against Jason Jones. Jones has been impressive. Here's a free kick to Kent Butcher. Held when not in possession. So Butcher to put the Pies into attack. Rocker. Oh, climbed from behind by Jeffrey. Nearly a fantastic mark. A high tackle. Advantage is paid. Comes to Dale Kickett. Long kick up towards centre half forward is magnificent. Smith takes the mark on the front of the centre square. Comes in short. A bouncing ball on the 50, so not a lot of gain there. Dennis Dunn goes to ground. Richardson the hand pass. Watson. Haven't seen a lot of Shane Watson yet. Williams, good hand pass to Dacos. He delays his hand pass to Tony Shaw. The veterans combine. Not a great hand pass by the ex-skipper. It's grabbed by the All Stars. The hand pass has popped up to Rioli, and the short pass is on. And the mark has been taken by Dunn.
Well, with the enormous pressure being applied by the All Stars in their forward line, Collingwood really must be spot on with their hand passing. And that hand pass, a very poor effort there from Tony Shaw, really playing for his football survival. Pretty tough ask, really, for Dacos and Tony Shaw this time of the year. They really must prove themselves every time they go out on the ground.
Dunn has already kicked one. Offline to the right. His tally 1 goal 2. The All Stars 5-5. Collingwood 4 goals 5. And we've heard stories about how they've come over from the islands by boat. They've come up from the centre of Australia in trucks and buses. And this ground would be holding about 15,000 at the moment. They're talking about a record crowd today, and I'd be surprised if it's not. Keranua, terrific skills. We never saw those for the Brisbane Reserves. The pass across the forward line. Smith goes for goal and hits the post. Joe Smith.
Yeah, another mistake there, Drew, out of defence there. Michael Christian just dropping that hand pass.
5-6 plays 4-5 as Craig Kelly kicks into the near side, half-back area. McLean gets the hand pass back towards McAdam. He's harassed there by Dacos, which was pretty good by Peter Dacos. But look at the numbers. Rioli short kick, centre half forward. Mark nearly taken by Smith. Through comes Butcher. Knocked back by McLean. Butcher there, recovers quite nicely. Or strong play. Number 54 for Collingwood is Stephen Ryan, the ex-Richmond player. Now Nathan Buckley. Goes long, unguarded goal. Will it bounce the right way? No, it doesn't. It hits the behind post in the finish. So a boundary throw in the left forward pocket for the Magpies.
Kicked that ball a long distance there too, Nathan Buckley. Really is a danger man. He just hasn't been getting enough of the ball here this afternoon.
5-6 plays 4-5. About halfway through the second quarter. And conditions not too bad. High up over the pack was Jones. It's not close to the boundary line where Dale Kickett has a chance. Essendon will be very impressed with the way he's going. Handling it pretty well. Out towards centre wing. Francis. Now Watson. Little kick by Watson. Mark is taken by Dacos. He'll have a good look and kicks it in towards full forward. A wobbling punt kick. No mark taken. Rocker goes after it when the ball hit the ground. Chance for Sanderson. His handball wide. Bounces close to the line. The kick coming in from Curley. And now Dale Kickett will clear. Wide towards the 50-metre line. Cable gathers. Little kick by Cable. Not much to go to. He goes to the boundary line probably. And in the finish, it worked out all right for the All Stars. Nathan Buckley couldn't quite get there. So we'll have a boundary throw in on centre wing. McCartney was the player that had the attempted shot for goal for Collingwood earlier. And now Nathan Buckley again. Nice long kick. Oh, brilliantly. He pinpoints Stephen Ryan in the right forward pocket for the Magpies. Kicked a few goals for Richmond in his time at Tigerland. And kick in towards the square. No mark taken. The ball at the back. It's Turley. His kick across his body. Goes into the opposite forward pocket. The mark to Plain? No, it's out on the full. So the free kick to the All Stars to be taken in the left back pocket by Rotumar. His kick goes in short and the mark is taken by Rioli. Of course, we've got two Riolis, Cyril Rioli and Willie Rioli. That was Cyril. His kick to Lewis and goes back in towards centre half back where it's taken by Willie Rioli. Handball over the top. Rotumar. Handball wide. Willie Rioli again. His kick in towards half forward. Christian comes out. Oh, top effort to stand your ground, son. Number 17, Matthew Armat. But the free kick is going to Collingwood, and it'll be taken by Christian.
That youngster Rottimer is in a bit of trouble up in the middle of the ground. Watson's taken the mark at centre half back for Collingwood. 7 points the advantage to the Aboriginal All Stars. In the second quarter at Marrara in Darwin. Kicked by Watson. Monkeys on the ground, and Damien Monkhorst takes the mark, centre of the ground. Quarter and a half on the bench.
Well, he should make a big difference in the ruck for Collingwood, Drew. I said before the match that he should have dominated the ruck, a player of his size and class.
High tackle, and Ugle will take a free kick. Chris Lewis it is. Gee, looks different with a haircut, different number, different colours in the jumper. Chris Lewis, the West Coast Eagle. Here's Troy Ugle. His hand pass on the bounce is not great. Grabbed by Fraser. Ugle, good tackle to make up for his original mistake. Play on, says the umpire. Now it's a free kick. Held when not in possession. Advantage. Watson comes up to Dacos. His hand pass to Buckley. Thumping kick by Buckley. Over the head of Rocker, is it? Jeffrey just gets it through for a behind.
And coming off for the All-Stars is Matthew Armat. He doesn't look to be too good to be replaced by Jamie Lawson.
At half-back for the All-Stars. Francis. Short pass. Running onto it, Dale Kickett has been impressive. His kick partly blocked. Williams gets to it. Gathers the bouncing ball beautifully. On the turn, playing at full stretch, can't take the mark. Curley's there. Jeffrey. Good tackle by Rocker. Ball socket away and out of bounds.
The player coming off, in fact, Drew, was Michael Rottimer.
Yeah, he got a fearful thump. Don't know that we'll see him back.
No, he looked pretty sick and sorry for himself coming off there.
Just a youngster too, local. Throw in half forward for the Pies. Just waltzing out of defence there was Chris Lewis again. Centre wing, no mark. Lawson, Dacos. And the umpire will ball it up. Quarters at 20 minutes plus time on. 3 umpires. We'll see that in 1994. But we won't too often see 8 interchange players for each side.
In weather like this, it's needed. Monkhorst gets it down to Krasiska. His kick slews off the side of his boot. And maybe he should have taken that, young Curley. Dropped it, and it goes over for a boundary throw-in. Here's a chance for Lewis. He's well tackled by Williams. Dacos, Francis, slick handball away for McLean. McLean's kick goes to right half forward. Contest, well done. Christian could have nearly been paid. Watson takes it off the pack. Hassel it was, back to Watson. Watson's kick in towards the centre, and Buckley, he dropped it. Fairly straightforward chest mark. Dacos, Francis. Now a chance for the All-Stars to force it forward. Well, that could have been a free kick there to Shane Tongery, and that's the way the umpire sees it. He's on the right half forward area, runs onto his favoured left foot, kicks it in towards half forward proper. No mark taken. Jones juggling with the football. Buckley there to pick it off, and his kick goes out towards the wing. Monkhorst and Williams, not much talking there, and eventually a free kick to Collingwood. They were a bit lucky, and it will go to Curley.
Yeah, lack of talk, and Williams just a little bit slow getting to his feet.
Curley on centre wing. He's kicked towards half forward. No mark taken. Nearly picked up by Ryan, but taken by Rioli. He gets it to McAdam. McAdam's kick goes in towards the centre of the ground. Mark was by Tongery. Back to McAdam. McAdam has a look. Kicks it in towards centre half forward. Nearly a top effort there by Dunn. He's in trouble on the 50-metre line. The ball goes to Buckley. In turn, Fraser. Back to Buckley. Was good football by the Magpies in the centre of the ground. His kick goes straight towards full forward, but it's broken down because the mark has been taken back there by Jones.
And some good body work there by Russell Jeffrey, keeping big Sav Rocker out of the contest.
Dale Kickett at half-back. Pops it up very high. McLean had to wait for it. Sanderson's just come on the ground to replace McCartney. Back to Jones it goes. Mighty kick. Easily 50 metres. Free kick against Houlihan. Suppose if he'd taken the mark, he might have been a show, but he was only trying to punch.
Yeah, he was up far too early there, Drew.
Lewis been moved. He looked as though he's playing across half-back.
Yeah, definitely in the forward line now. As we see Wolf back on the ground for the All-Stars. Of course, started the game in the ruck.
For a while it was thought Chris Lewis wasn't going to be cleared by the Eagles to play in this game, but he was a week ago. And with disposal like that, it's just as well. A beautiful pass.
Well, that was pinpoint accuracy there from Lewis. In the middle of 3 Collingwood players there, it had to be spot on. And the mark there taken by Dennis Dunn, who's looked as if he was in a bit of trouble a moment ago, but fantastic kick there by Chris Lewis.
Dunn for his second. We're right behind this. Give him a goal for that. And the crowd loving the exhibition being put on here. The All Stars by 2 goals.
About to come on for Collingwood is Scott Thompson. But a great exhibition of football here by the All Stars, especially at ground level. They've got so much support there. The pace of this of the All Stars team really worrying the Collingwood team. Monkhurst now on to do the ruck work, as I said. And Wolf doing the ruck work for the All Stars.
Thompson on for Sanderson, who's gone off.
Monkhurst gets an ineffective tap away. He's got the football, but gee, look at the gang tackling by the All Stars. Eventual kick off the ground. Finishes with Hassel. His handball goes to Buckley. He's in trouble. He's caught. Could have nearly been penalised, but the umpire had his whistle in his mouth, elected not to go on with it. Houlihan's handball over the top to Hassel. Hassel from centre wing. Kicks in towards half forward. Goes wide. Good play there by Rocker. Little left foot kick. Blocked. Taken back there by McAdam. Under pressure. Williams takes it over in the finish for the Magpies, about 25 metres around from the Collingwood goal.
Yeah, it's great to see that they let Chris Lewis play and change their mind on that one, Robbo, because I think it's a great honour for these players to be playing in this Aboriginal All-Star side.
Well, I was going to ask you the question about that. Maybe we'll get a chance to elaborate about players that aren't allowed to play. As the All-Stars move the ball in towards half forward. Oh, dropping it was Ugle. Now a chance for the All-Stars to force it into the right forward pocket. And he's marked it again. Done. A great mark. And that kick came in from Armat, who has had some sort of an impact since coming on the ground at the start of the second term.
Yes, under severe pressure there, Dennis Dunn from Craig Kelly, who's playing at full back. And Dennis Dunn, a very lively customer, leading well. And Craig Kelly giving him a lot of attention after he'd taken that mark.
A Tiwi Islander from the famous St Mary's club up here. He's a veteran at 30. Looks great, doesn't he? But not such a good kick.
No, disappointing kick there from Dennis Dunn, through for just one behind. So the All-Stars go on to 6-7. They lead Collingwood 4-6, and there's part of the crowd that are enjoying this match. Michael Christian kicks it back into play. Left half back for the Magpies. Good mark taken by Kelly.
Jason Wild on for Collingwood, Robbo, for his first run.
Handball for Hassel. He's going to get run down. No. Tongaree chasing, but couldn't catch him. And the kick goes wide across half back for Collingwood. The race is on there. A good bump by Thompson. Nearly opened it up for Christian. Cable trying to force it forward for the All-Stars. The ball goes over for a boundary throw-in. Just while it's out of bounds, what do you feel about the practice matches that the boys are playing in Melbourne are going to be pretty tough anyway? Winmar not allowed to play by the St Kilda team.
I think it's a very disappointing decision in my book. I think Nicky Winmar would have loved to have been a part of this. And I think it's a very disappointing performance by St Kilda, not allowing him to play in this game.
And he was, from what I can gather, one of the reasons why the game was organised.
Certainly the key reason. And it's a pity that Winmar's not here. Wanganeen withdrew during the week with injury, and of course Michael Long injured last week. What an All-Stars side they would have been with those three in. Not a bad side already. Up on Collingwood's forward line. Russell Jeffrey. Geelong, St Kilda, Brisbane Bears, but plenty of football up here in the territory. Jeffrey up towards centre wing. Campbell, a bit aggressive in there.
Oh, wasn't he ever?
Maybe he's got a bit of his old man in him. Basil Campbell, we talked about him earlier on.
Yeah, rough, tough and hard at the football.
There's the siren signalling half-time here at Marrara Oval in Darwin. A fantastic exhibition of football in the first half. And the All-Stars, playing for a cause, lead 6-7, 43. Collingwood, 4 goals, 6-30.
Yes, well, it's a great performance so far by the All-Stars. At ground level, they've certainly been superior, far superior. Lee Matthews decided to leave Damien Monkhurst off until about the 15-minute mark of that second term. And I think with him doing the ruck work in the centre, Collingwood probably will certainly come back into this match in the second half. But Magnificent effort by the All Stars. Great at ground level.
Oh, it's just a pleasure to be here to watch it. I hope you're enjoying it on 7 Sport. Half-time, All Stars 6-7, Collingwood 4-6.
Territory footy from the vault is thanks to these valued partners.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Time to escape, 'cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co. The beer from up here.
Consider the applicable PDS before making an investment decision.
Welcome back to Marrara Oval in Darwin, where the Aboriginal All Stars at half-time leading Collingwood 6-7-43 to 4 goals 6-30. The Pies managing just 1-3 in that second quarter. During half-time, the All Stars coach Maurice Rioli had a word to his players, and he thinks there's an advantage in the warmth. We're just getting warmed up, and Collingwood have reached the end of it. Well, see if he's right. They lead by 13 points at the moment, the All-Stars. Here's Dacos with a bit of magic near the middle. A high kick hasn't cleared the centre square. A punch from behind was disciplined play. It comes out towards Butcher. He's going to leave it for Buckley. Buckley's run down and caught in the tackle, just gets boot the ball. Up towards the 50, and the mark is taken by Hassel. No, play on. McLean. Hassel again, number 15, and the ball goes out of play. John Hassel, Collingwood fans might know a lot about him, an ex-Teal Cup rover, and they're showing off a lot of new talent here today, and there are players on the interchange bench. Tony Shaw is currently on the bench, so what's the future for the man who was captain for 7 years? Russell Jeffrey gets the hand pass away to the skipper McLean. His hand pass to White. Cable up to centre wing. Good pass. Monkhurst with his back to the ball. He didn't get first touch, but he's come up with the footy.
Unbelievable. Christian takes the hand pass and gets it away now to Sharkey, who's on the field. Opportunity for Dacos. He's very well harassed by Kiranua, and it finishes now with Lewis. Lewis's kick off the side of his boot to half forward. It goes over the top of the players' heads. Gaffer is there. He's held, didn't have the football by Campbell. In goes Sanderson. Now Kelly in trouble. Tackle there by Dunn, but the umpire has picked the free kick out, and it's going to the All-Stars against Collingwood, maybe against Brenton Sanderson, and a free kick will go to Campbell. Warren Campbell.
Yes, Adam Kiranua just came onto the ground to replace Cyril Rioli. There's the free kick. Maybe I thought he lost it in the tackle there, Robbo.
Yeah, I'm a bit with you. I didn't think it was worthy of a shot at goal, and I think this is where the umpires have got to be very, very careful. But the free kick is with Campbell. He's kicked 2, and he has the chance to extend the lead to 19 points early in the second half. He's only 20 metres out, and he pops it through for a goal. So 3 goals to Warren Campbell, and the All-Stars start the second half very promisingly.
Where Cyril Rioli went off the ground with what appeared to be a leg problem. He was replaced by number 10 for the All Stars, Adam Keranua. There's Tony Shaw, the ex-Collingwood skipper, on the interchange bench. Started this second half. A very quiet first half for Tony.
Wolf against Monkhorst. They haven't really matched up one against the other for the game. See how they go. Monkhorst easily. Belted back. Francis gets the handball over the top to Rioli. Willie Rioli. He's kicked too high for the leading full forward. The mark not taken by Dunn. And Campbell sees the ball over the boundary line. Gaffer getting his first run in the second half. Mick Gaffer. Now Collingwood need to get some goals on the board. They've scored just one since quarter time. Here's Monkhorst, tries to take clean possession. Ugle gets the hand pass. McLean. And out of bounds on the full by a centimetre.
Yes, wasn't much in it, but the free kick to be taken for the Magpies back there by Michael Gaffer. Collingwood will need to kick the next 2 goals if they're to have a chance in the game. The ball forced forward there by Jason Cockatoo. Chance again for Dunn. His kick across his body goes in towards the goal front, but a good mark taken by Kelly. Strong in front of Campbell. Hand pass away. Dacos. Little kick by Dacos. And the mark is taken by Sanderson. Sanderson is at left back pocket for Collingwood. And kicks it quite nicely down towards the wing. Taken by Buckley. Couldn't quite control the hand pass. Goes in after it again. Tap away was by Joe Smith, but it rebounds for Nathan Buckley. He has a good look up the field and puts an ordinary kick on it in the finish. Houlihan under pressure. It's cleared away by McAdam. He's in trouble close to the boundary line. Pressure applied by Houlihan, and the hand pass goes over for a boundary throw-in.
Currently it's 26 degrees. The humidity's dropped a bit. It's about 90%. It's very still, and the storm clouds look as though they've just moved out to sea, so we look as though we'll get away with it without a huge storm. But in the first half, it looked as though we were going to get pelted with inches of rain. Ball out. We'll have a throw-in towards half forward for Collingwood. The crowd are buzz with this game. Wolf over the top of him goes Sanford. Big lump of a boy. Under 19 best and fairest in 89 was Glenn Sanford, and yet to play a league game for competition points. Played Foster's Cup, and here he is today. Oh, Butcher with pace to Williams. Kick by Williams to the 50, and the chest mark has been taken here by Todd Curley, West Australian
mark, wasn't it?
Must have been touched off the boot, Robbo. The umpire calling play on.
Looked fairly effective to me.
He looks bemused.
Could be the only decision.
Drafted 91 from West Perth. Dacos can't get boot to ball.
Oh.
Wolf gets it to McLean. He dashes away. And now the All Stars off and running through Cockatoo. No mark down there to Smith. Christian. Still the All Stars. Willie Rioli. 70 metres from goal. The pass is perfect. And the mark has been taken by Campbell.
Gee, Lewis was good in a passage of play back at right half forward.
And this bloke's been fairly impressive too, Campbell. Just at ground level, the All-Star side was far too good.
Warren Campbell. Well, haven't made the most of that, and we've now got a throw in the forward pocket. But Warren Campbell played the last couple of years at South Fremantle, but drafted by North Melbourne, a 20-year-old, and he's shown a bit here today.
Monkhorst tries to get the tap out. It's taken by Sanderson. His kick goes off the side of his boot on the full. So a free kick for the All-Stars to be taken out there at right half forward by Willie Rioli. He goes in short, gets it to Lewis. Lewis with the much shorter haircut. He's kicking towards the goal square region. Oh, underneath all that was Joe Smith. Here's a chance for Butcher. Gets the hand pass away for Monkhorst. He's at right half back. He kicks it near the centre of the ground. Good mark taken by Sanford. It was awkward for the big fellow, but he did well. He gets the hand pass wide to Buckley. Buckley just gets his kick away. In towards the pocket where Curley is outnumbered. Back goes Kirinua and knocks it over for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for Collingwood, about 40 metres around from their goal. So some interested spectators, a lot of them here at the Marrara complex. Boundary throw in. Wolf beaten for it by Sanford. Underneath that was Houlihan. Couldn't break clear. Umpire blew his whistle, then called play on. And out comes Campbell, strong in defence for the All Stars. His kick goes into the centre of the ground. It's left for Lewis. He went after the football. The kick across his body was good. He saw the player leading. It was Dunn. Dunn's kick in towards Ugle. And Ugle takes a good mark. And he's well within scoring distance, and the crowd really appreciated that passage of play.
Well, so they should, Robbo. It's terrific display. Great football by the Aboriginal All Stars. Good play here by Dennis Dunn, who's been very lively at full forward. Under a fair bit of pressure, delivered the ball beautifully to Troy Ugle.
Well, Ugle has kicked one, but he's way offline with this shot for goal. And a wasted opportunity there by Troy Ugle. He looks a little disillusioned with what's happening through the air, but doesn't make much difference. It registers just one behind. And Craig Kelly to kick the ball back in for the Magpies.
To Monkhorst, who can't take the mark, crashes to the ground. Through goes Willie Rioli, traps the ball brilliantly, fires out the hand pass, but it's chopped off. The ball held when not in possession, says the umpire. Dacos wants to play advantage, but it's got to come back. And to be taken by Paul Sharkey from Sandhurst, an ex-Teal Cup player, second season with Collingwood. Here's Gayfer. Goes out wide to Butcher. Dodges a tackle. Collingwood need to set up something. They need to kick about the next 2 or 3 goals. Houlihan climbs high, can't take the mark. Comes down to McLean. Brilliant he is. Cable. Son of Barry Cable. Shane Cable going for the bounce and a run. Up towards half forward. Terrific pass. The mark couldn't be dragged in there by Armat. Out of bounds on the full. No, throw in. Boundary umpire wants it, and he'll throw it in. Derek Kickett about to come back on for the All Stars. He played briefly in the first quarter, had about 15 minutes, that's all.
Boundary throw in just forward of centre wing in the All Stars forward half. Gayfer gets the handball back to Sharkey. In turn, he goes over the top to Watson. Watson's near the centre of the ground. He goes Banks across the half forward line. The Maggies are really letting themselves down. Kicking that clear for the All Stars was Dale Kickett, picked off by Sanderson. Lovely little kick, a little too high there for Bradley Plain. Back there was Dale Kickett, kicks it back towards the centre wing region where Francis is marked. Francis in towards the centre. He's Brisbane Bears teammate Darryl White marks. He kicks in towards right half forward, punched away by Christian, nearly taken in the air by Matthew Armat. There's Fraser. He's crashed to the ground nearly by Armat, and the ball is forced over for a boundary throw-in.
There's very little happening for Collingwood, Robbo, across half forward. They just haven't got a marking player there.
Well, wouldn't you take some risks further down the ground to try and break it up a little bit so they can get past there?
Well, I think they're just being killed at ground level. That's the problem at the moment.
Watson strives to get the ball clear, but it's McLean. Could have nearly been deemed as throwing the ball, that. In goes McLean again, beaten for it by Gayfer. Christian forced to kick quickly. Back near the centre of the ground. Buckley's outnumbered. And he's absolutely beaten pointless there by Jason Cockatoo, who passes in short where Lewis is marked well within scoring distance.
As Chris Lewis will be kicking this from just inside the 50 metre, around about the 45 metre mark, so it shouldn't be a problem with the distance. They're letting themselves down though with their accuracy, the Aboriginal All Stars. As Sanford comes off for Collingwood, and Jason McCartney about to come back on.
Here goes Lewis from just inside the 50 metre line. Good kick by Lewis as a goal. So Chris Lewis kicks his first goal, and the All Stars get their 8th. They lead 8-8 to 4-6.
He's out to a 26-point advantage now. And the Aboriginal All Stars really showing their class. I don't think the Collingwood players really appreciate these conditions. Still doing a lot of experimenting, the Collingwood side, with a lot of new players having a run here this afternoon.
Well, at the start of last season, Collingwood were one of the fastest teams in the competition. They looked like waltzing into the finals. A miracle they didn't make it, but they were quick. Pace was their great advantage, but they've been run off their legs here today by the All Stars. Here's Butcher. The hand pass and a clash behind play. And the fight goes
the
on.
crowd like this one, Drew.
17, the player involved there, Matthew Armat, jumping into Butcher well after he'd got rid of the ball there. It was rather unnecessary from Armat.
Collingwood go forward. Rocker needs to take a mark. Jeffrey. Keranua was there. The hand pass out. Keranua slides it away to Jeffrey, and he gets it up the ground. This is terrific play. Cockatoo on the bounce up towards centre wing. All Collingwood, but Gafer can't keep it in.
Well, the fellow on the wing's doing a pretty good job too there, and that's Shane Tongaree playing on Nathan Buckley. Buckley's been very quiet. Michael Gafer now off for Collingwood.
Jason Wild back on for his second run, a former New South Wales Teal Cup player for Collingwood. Dacos, he's got nowhere to go. Back to Watson. Good pick up by Shane Watson. Good vision, but it's just a bit too high for Monkhorst. This is the mighty Collingwood, and they're not playing too mightily at the moment.
That's all coming from the pressure being applied. Monkhorst off the ground now for Collingwood also. A lot of pressure being applied at ground level by the All-Stars. Terrific tackling and harassing.
Boundary throw in. Dacos couldn't quite control it. Francis is there. Handball away to Lewis. Lewis is going to get run down, but he shrugs the tackle, which was fairly well ineffective by McCartney, and away go the All-Stars. Number 22 in the centre of the ground, Shane Tongaree, was in the action again. Here's a chance now for Joe Smith. Handball wide, goes back towards Tongaree again. His high kick in towards full forward. It's punched away. Nearly holding his ground was Derek Kickett. Ball goes back. Handball over the top was by Sharkey, and Collingwood will get clear. It's Watson's kick, and it finds Buckley at right half back. Well, Nathan Buckley's probably had a dozen or so possessions, but certainly hasn't been the startling player that Collingwood would want him to be so far in this game. A magnificent long kick in towards half forward. Darryl White couldn't quite take the mark. Dacos nearly made a path there for Curley. Out comes Tongaree again. It spills for Paul Williams. He runs up to the 50-metre line. Good chase by Cable, but it was all in vain because the goal has been kicked by Williams. A badly needed goal for Collingwood, kicked by their young up-and-comer Paul Williams, who's played 40 games now, and Collingwood hit back. They're 5-6, trailing the All-Stars, who are 8 goals 8.
Yes, I think that was some of the pace Drew was talking about there about 5 minutes ago. And Paul Williams, one of the very quick Collingwood players. And they certainly haven't been able to put that on display this afternoon. There's Lee Matthews. Still, as I said, very much in the experimentation stage this early part of the season.
Well, they have got 10 young players, 10 or so young players, haven't they?
Oh, there's a lot of players out. There's no Gary Pert. There's no skipper Gavin Brown.
McGuan.
Yeah, a lot of top players out.
Tony Francis.
Scotty Russell.
Here's Willie Rioli, starring in this third quarter. Up the ground he goes, and on the chest of Matthew Armat. 56-36, the All-Stars by 20 points.
Down the ground. Full forward being held.
Oh, right in front of goals, and this is an absolute gift goal to Campbell.
Well, they really just must be disciplined now, the defenders, because they cannot afford to do anything behind the play with this third umpire. Of course, one umpire at each end of the ground in the 50-metre area, and the other umpire controlling the centre area.
Campbell for number 4 gets it. Well, he's happy, and North Melbourne fans will be happy.
Now, one of the strong men of league football there, Craig Kelly. Really, the third umpire just doesn't suit the strong type of players. Really, the self-discipline really comes into it now with the third umpire watching things very closely.
There's Maurice Rioli and Barry Cable to his right. Two of the selection committee for this Aboriginal All-Star team. They lead 9-8 to 5-6. And Collingwood forced the ball clear of that centre bounce. Taken by Cable. A rugged customer is Shane Cable. Handball wide. Opportunity for Willie Rioli. Handball over the top. Looking for Dale Kickett. Shepherding was good. Set it up for Armat. His hand pass too short. Taken by Sanderson for Collingwood. His kick up towards half forward. McCartney. Handball wide was by Hassel. Through comes Houlihan. Handball in turn again. Chance for Williams to get his second within 35 seconds, and he kicks it. A good goal there by Paul Williams. And Collingwood hit back. They still trail, though, by 20 points.
It's just slightly overdoing the handballing, the All-Star side, bringing that ball out of defence. A costly turnover there. Shane Cable, a good hand pass, a sweeping hand pass, looking for, well, it ends up with Dale Kickett. Good running there from Dale Kickett out of defence. This is just where he maybe a long kick would have been better, just a better option, but that turnover proving costly. And Williams now starting to do a little bit of damage across half forward.
Clean pair of heels for the second time by Paul Williams. Well, Collingwood close enough if they're good enough. The heat and the conditions aren't beating them. It's as mild as you could get in Darwin. Just under 6 minutes to go to three-quarter time. Bit scrappy out of the middle this time. Fraser goes over his shoulder. Often a throw, that one. This one's grabbed by Lewis. He's done some classy things, Chris Lewis. Floated hand pass comes wide from Armat back to Lewis. Drops short of Rioli. Chopped off by Buckley. He floats one to Houlihan, just behind centre wing. Houlihan, a high spiral to half forward. McCartney crashed through. Couldn't take the mark. A hand pass Sanderson through McCartney to Houlihan. Here's a bit of run from Collingwood. In it comes now. Grabbed by Curley. Todd Curley's run down from behind. And it's come unstuck. And now the All Stars will get a free kick.
Brilliant tackle, wasn't it, Drew? Coming from Cockatoo, I think it was. Jason Cockatoo. Great stuff there. They've been prepared to do that all afternoon.
Gilbert McAdam wasn't too happy there. He thought he should have got a free kick earlier than that.
Nick Curley was thinking he was going to kick his first goal for Collingwood then.
It's amazing, isn't it? The pace of the game from just one standard that you're used to playing and then get into a more fierce game like this. And you think you've got a little bit of time to spare, and down comes the tackler, and you're in all sorts of trouble.
Michael McLean looking as if he's got a touch of the cramp there.
Well, let's hope that's all it is, because there's pretty torrid conditions.
He's just signed up for another 2 years with the Brisbane Bears, Michael McLean.
And good on him.
Winning the best and fairest last year.
He's been a good player for the Bears since crossing from Footscray. But this is Francis with the ball at right half back for the All Stars. His kick goes 50 metres up towards half forward. Nearly taken by Armat. Little kick off the ground. Goes in towards half forward where David Scooter couldn't control the kick. But a goal coming up from Dunn. Gee, controlled that lovely on the left foot. He's kicked 3 goals now, Dennis Dunn, and he's been very active up there at full forward. And the Richard Pryor lookalike gets his third. 10-8 plays, 6 goals, 6.
Well, Craig Kelly opting there to read the play and not stay with his opponent there. There he was, about 30 metres away from Dennis Dunn. And a very lively performer at full forward, Dennis Dunn. He's been very impressive.
We're back in the middle. 68 to 42, the All Stars leading late in the third quarter at Marrara in Darwin. McCartney goes without it. Darryl White spins through the pack. The hand pass missed the target. But a chance here for Tongaree. Left foot, great kick. Oh, just a little bit wide. Campbell might have gone off the Collingwood players. Yes, it was. Off Jason Wild on the full, and a free kick to Campbell. Chris Lewis comes in short, but he's given it straight to the opposition, to Shane Watson. Watson switches to the other side of the ground. Now they can mount something. Sanderson, the ex-Adelaide Crow, up towards centre wing. Here we go. Dale Kickett. Beautiful kick to Dunn. And he's 40 metres out.
It's very lax in defence at the moment, Collingwood. Of course, the regular fullback, Gary Pert, not playing here this afternoon at Marrara. He's has some sort of a hamstring problem.
Bernie, even though Gary Pert is an experienced player, he wouldn't add a lot of pace to this team, though, would he?
No, he certainly hasn't got a lot of pace, Gary Pert, but he can stick to a task.
Dunn kicks his fourth.
Just the last 2 occasions the ball's been in that forward line, Craig Kelly's been not within 30 metres of Dennis Dunn. And we see now Craig Kelly coming off the ground. And Michael Gayfler or maybe going to full back. Of course, Mick Gayfer played a pretty good game last year in the State of Origin, playing for New South Wales against Victoria when he manned up against Gary Ablett. So Mickey Gayfer now going to full back, and Craig Kelly paying the price of being far too loose.
So the bounce back in the centre, Richardson beaten for it there by Jason Jones. And a chance again there for David Scooter, who's didn't waste much time getting into the action, coming on in this third quarter. And player on the mark, Paul Williams. Scooter, left foot in towards half forward, gathered nearly by Kickett. Gets the hand pass away, back in towards the centre where Scooter went after it, did pretty well. Was difficult for him. Sharkey over the top, McCartney on the end of it. Williams could kick his third goal for the quarter. Blasts away and misses to the right-hand side. Through for just one behind.
I'll tell you what, Rob, I don't think Derek Kickett's done much pre-season training.
You beat me to it, Bernie, because I don't know whether he'll watch a replay of this, and he wouldn't like that comment, I don't think.
Well, who knows where he's going to play, or if he's going to play.
Fair enough. Lewis tries to get the hand pass to Dale Kickett. The umpire calls play on. It was nearly standing football there by Lewis. Tongery.
Whoops.
Oh, was that a handball? It's okay, according to the umpire. McLean is at right centre wing. He's kicking towards half forward. High flyer was done at the back. It's cleared away for Collingwood. Back towards the centre of the ground. The mark has been taken by Williams. Paul Williams has kicked 2 goals so far in the game. He goes across the ground. Mark taken by Buckley. Short kick by Buckley into the pocket. The mark taken by Houlihan. Well, Houlihan was recruited from Corowa Rutherglen, I think.
Correct.
In the Ovens and Murray League as a forward.
Well, quite strange to see him starting off in the back pocket. But as I say, these are the games where you can experiment.
Well, you do see a lot of young players tested in defence, probably to try and find out what the defender's thinking, and then go to the other end of the ground and make a bit of a career for themselves. Houlihan's kick looks pretty good. Goal. He kicks his first goal for the game. And Collingwood, just a little bit of a sniff. Is that the siren? It is. So, three-quarter time here in this match between the Aboriginal All Stars and Collingwood. And at three-quarter time, the All Stars lead. They're 11-8-74. Collingwood is 7-7-49.
Territory footy from the vault is thanks to these valued partners.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. GIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Time to escape, 'cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Consider the applicable PDS before making an investment decision.
At three-quarter time, the All Stars have it comfortably by 25 points. Can the Pies get back into it? They trail 7-7 to the All Stars, 11 goals, 8. A lively crowd, a big crowd. They're claiming a record, about 15,000 here at Marrara. Start of the last quarter. Richardson back in the ruck. The All Stars move it out well. Long kick by McLean after he got the hand pass from Tongery. But the mark is taken back there by Curley. Todd Curley, West Perth recruit. Across the ground to Watson. He ducks a high tackle and clears from half-back with a short pass, where the mark's taken by Fraser. They work it on well. This is Hassel. Bounces up kindly to Richardson. Virtually unmarked. This is untouched. Buckley, now he's cornered. He's lost it. Into McCartney. He snaps from 30 metres. He needs to kick it and has. Well, that'll give the Pies a lift. Can they get back into it now?
It's still very difficult, I think, Drew, from this position, because they haven't been winning the ball out of the middle. McCartney's kicked 2 goals. They seem very keen to tackle Nathan Buckley when he gets the ball, some of these Aboriginal All Stars. And of course, he did play up here, and his father coaches in the local competition. Hasn't had a huge impact so far for Collingwood, but very dangerous, as I said, when he does get the ball.
So the difference is just 19 points. Can Collingwood win this match? It's going to be a terrific effort if they do. Here's Willie Rioli. He gets the hand pass away to Darryl White, who's been quite solid at centre half back, but his kick lets himself down. Ryan is well tackled there by Tongery, and it's taken away by Scooter. Scooter's high kick slews off the side of his boot close to the boundary line, and eventually taken over for Collingwood by Sharkey. And it's just behind centre wing in the All Stars attacking half. Derek kick it from behind, but young Richardson gets it down. It's taken away there by Tongery. Kicking towards half forward. Great mark by Campbell. Terrific mark. He probably just did hold the Collingwood player out, but more holding his own ground than pushing the player in the back. And a good mark, a chance to get his 5th goal.
Yes, the other player that's been very impressive, I think, Robbo, is Shane Tongery.
Very quick, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays in the South Australian competition. He has played 31 games with Central Districts. And I tell you what, he's just the type of player with this type of pace that could succeed in the AFL.
Well, Campbell goes for goal. It's straight through the centre. So Collingwood's goal answered very quickly by Warren Campbell. He's now kicked 5. Dennis Dunn has kicked 4. And again, the All Stars lead by 25 points.
And again, the strength of this Aboriginal All Stars, winning the ball out of the middle. As we have a look at this replay, Derek Kickett there trying to do some of the ruck work. With Tongery again, he's the player delivering the ball into that forward line. A little bit of a nudge there, but threw himself back to take a very strong mark there, Warren Campbell. Great performance, 5 goals.
And Bernie Tongery has just turned 20, so all his football career's ahead of him.
I think there'll be a few scouts having a look at him, Drew.
Bounce in the middle, favours Jones, uncontested. Lewis, the All Stars running amok. The kick up towards the 50. Campbell again. Punch away was good by Curley, and the ball out of play. 80 to 55, the All Stars in front. And the Foster's Cup starts next week, next Saturday. Collingwood in action in competition against North Melbourne. And they'd hope to regain quite a few players, I would say, from today's lineup.
Yes, I think a few could have played had they really been required, but of course a couple getting over operations, Mickey McGuan and Gavin Brown. Tony Francis has some Achilles soreness, and Gary Pert with a slight hamstring problem, so there's some very good players to come back in this Collingwood side.
The kick wasn't Buckley's, so it's coming back to Richardson. Buckley might get it yet. He offers a run for a hand pass. Richardson goes long to centre wing. White in front, good mark. Darryl White has displayed some terrific skills in his seasons with the Bears. Here's his All-Star skipper, Michael McLean, to centre half forward. The mark not taken, but the free kick is paid over the shoulder.
Dennis Dunn again, he's a long way from goal, but it has been very lively.
As distinct from Collingwood, who haven't really had a regular contributor on their forward line.
Dunn has kicked 4 goals, 3. He unloads a big one here, but doesn't get the distance. It's 15 metres out. Derek Kickett, a bit of magic, but he's pulled off his kick. Richardson did pretty well and dished out the hand pass to Butcher. He goes for a run, kicked by Kent Butcher to the centre of the ground. Slips through Jones, but to tidy up, Dale Kickett. He gets it back in a 1-2 with Cable. And the hand pass on is good. Now here is Purantatameri for his first touch. We've been looking forward to calling him all day. The most magnificent name, Graham Purantatameri. And he got his first touch there. And in the curtain raiser today, the Tiwi Islands match, there were 12 of them. 7 on one side and 5 on the other.
And you were sorry you didn't get the chance to call that match, Drew.
How would you like to call that?
It was well done with the call just before, too. Here's a chance for Stephen Ryan. He's at right half forward for the Magpies. His kick in towards full forward. At the back, the high leap and a great mark taken by Rocker. Had the ride.
Great grab, wasn't it? The big fella playing at full forward. 73 goals last year, 35 behinds for the year. So the first wave of goal kickers, then came Sumich, Longmire and Rocker. So he's right up there with some very good players on that goal kicking list. No problem for that distance for Rocker.
So Rocker kicks his second goal and Collingwood just hang in there with just a sniff of a chance of victory. They trail again by 19 points, but they cannot get a succession of goals.
We'll just have a look at this mark again in replay. The long hand pass coming to Ryan from Gaffer. Had plenty of time to steady, look for his options in the forward line. The big ride there over the top. Russell Jeffrey providing the step ladder. And Severio Rocker kicking his second. I think he looks like he could be a real good player for a lot of years for Collingwood, Robbo, that boy, Severio Rocker.
And a football.
Somebody sampled a footy.
Snaffle down that left hand into the ground.
A good souvenir of today.
My word. Well, they all will be. I think the jumpers that the All Stars players are wearing, I'm sure they'll treasure them.
It could be a one-off, but you never know. We might see it again. It might become a bit of a regular.
Could do.
Richardson wins in ruck, knocks it out towards centre wing. Player pulled off his hand pass. Scott Thompson there. The All Stars have it now, and they look dangerous once more. Armat, the kick up towards half forward. Purantatameri, there he is, number 1. But the ball clears him. Oh, he's a slender young lad. A Tiwi Islander.
I tell you what, Drew, he's the smallest guy I've ever seen playing this level of football.
You thought Jamie Lawson was small,
I thought he was small, but this boy, he looks like he's just come out of 6th grade, doesn't he?
Well, they must think something of him to put him in this team, and it's great to see. He's got a chance here. His handball was pretty well smothered. And the kick goes back towards the centre of the ground. Here's Willie Rioli. He went straight for the football, shrugged the tackle, kick in towards half forwards, a free kick to the All Stars. There's no way known that Michael Gaffer could get out of the road, and Dunn stood his ground brilliantly and has got the free kick.
They had one full back that didn't want to get near the full forward. This one's just playing too close, Michael Gaffer. Here we see again, just tripping slightly was Dennis Dunn, and I think that may have contributed to Michael Gaffer falling all over the top of him.
Well, if there's a contest for the leading goal scorer for the day, it's right on here at the moment. Campbell has kicked 5, and Dunn has this kick to make his personal tally 5, and the goal umpire doesn't move. So Dunn has now kicked 5, Campbell 5. They've kicked 13, the other 3 coming from Francis, Lewis and Troy Ugle. They lead 13-8 to 9-7.
Well, it's been a picnic really for the forwards, because the ball's been delivered pretty well into that forward line as Derek Kicker comes off for the All Stars, and he's been replaced by Wayne Hogan coming on for his first run.
He's a 19-year-old Hogan. Derek Kickett off the ground for the All Stars, and getting his first run, Wayne Hogan, who's a 19-year-old from Tasmania. Big, strapping lad, about 6'2". Just under 14 minutes left at Marrara, and the All Stars have got Collingwood on the rack at the moment. Free kick to Michael McLean. It's 13-8 to 9-7. White takes it off McLean. On his own, here is Willie Rioli. His short pass to Francis, 60 metres from goal. And Collingwood not manning up, and gaps starting to appear in their defence. Fabian Francis, who played 1 game for Melbourne, went up to the Brisbane Bears. Too far out to score, but he's taking a Dennis Lilly-like run up. And he's kicked it pretty long, edge of the square. No mark. Not a bad effort. And the ball out of play.
Almost a mark there, Drew. That player there was Joe Smith. Had the right position, the front position, and couldn't drag it in.
Claremont premiership player, Joe Smith.
Boundary throw in, right forward pocket for the Aboriginal All Stars. Ruck contest. Butcher's got a chance. Can't quite break clear. Now the opportunity for Richardson. Handball. Sanderson. Well done. They eventually force it clear. Fraser. We thought he was quick, but how quick was that tackle? Buckley goes after McLean. Ex-teammates last year at the Bears. Now a chance for Dale Kickett. Essendon would have been wrapped by his performance. They watch that. Willie Rioli bashed. Darryl White has the football, but the call is to go back to Willie Rioli, who by the sound of it is a bit of a star here in Darwin. Handball away for McLean. McLean has captained the side quite well. The kick in towards centre-half forward, taken by Butcher. He's going to get run down, but he gets the hand pass away. Chance now for Sharkey. His kick goes wide. There's no one home for Collingwood, and the race is on. Jeffrey leads. The bounce was awkward. Houlihan arrives late. The ball underneath Houlihan, and the umpire decides to bounce about 65, 70 metres around from the Collingwood goal.
Robbo, I think it goes without saying, if your name is Rioli up here, you're going to be a star.
My word. I think Maurice certainly showed the lead, and Willie Rioli, Cyril Rioli was good early in the game. Here's a chance now for Francis. Handball, Tongaree, away for Willie Rioli again.
Beautiful kick.
And a kick in towards centre-half forward. Not quite marked there by Joe Smith. Ball rebounds for Christian to get the handball to Buckley. Nearly caught. Handball away to Houlihan. Houlihan's kick across centre-half forward. McCartney beaten for it this time by Ugle. And he takes a safe mark at centre-half back.
Troy Ugle towards the outer side of the ground. Tongaree has a chance to take a bit of time. Gets a lead from Cable, but he goes long with his kick. Here's Puran Tatameri. He's got the mark just inside the boundary line and holds it up for all to see. Short pass. And sliding in on two knees is Scooter to take the mark. 75 metres out from goal. 13-8-86 to 9-7-61. A 25-point lead to the All Stars. They concede some ground. Shane Cable pumps it to full forward. Collingwood in front. The mark taken by Butcher. They run it out of defence. On the run is Sharkey to centre wing. Ryan. And, he's kicked it out of bounds just about into the crowd.
Well, that's just very ordinary stuff there by Stephen Ryan.
Inexcusable, isn't it,
well,
really, Robbo?
Well, in today's football, Bernie, once you've got possession, you can't afford to give it up so easily like that.
Houlihan off, and Aaron James having a run for Collingwood.
He's not even on their list, Ryan. He's up for the draft, and I suppose after something like that, he won't be on Collingwood's list.
Well, they get clear through Watson. His kick goes in towards the centre of the ground where Rocker's come a long way down. He looks as though he may be playing at centre-half forward now. He's kicking towards full forward. James goes for it, couldn't quite take the mark. McAdam gets back. Applying the tackle was James. Dale Kickett, well done.
Beautiful.
Handball wide for Ugle. They could take the ball nearly down the length of the ground here. Ugle gives it to the right player, and Willie Rioli quickly. On he goes. McLean, who would pretty well feature in best on ground votes, I would think. Ugle, good shepherd back there by Tongaree. Ugle's gone the length of the ground. He's going to take it. All the way down goes Troy Ugle. In towards centre-half forward. It's broken down. Buckley. Watson. Over the top Christian, and Collingwood will get clear.
Christian gives it 25-metre hand pass. McCartney goes back to Christian. Look out, you're in trouble. He's lost it.
That was Tongaree again, Drew.
And Francis comes up with the ball. His pass. Could have been a Christmas pudding. There'd have been raisins all over him, but he couldn't drag in the mark, Joe Smith. Now Collingwood to centre-half forward. Top mark. Big Severio.
And will make the distance from there, no problems. No one back in the goal square. Prepared to put his body in front. Huge frame on this boy, Severio Rocker.
Kicking from about 50 metres. He doesn't go for goal. He goes for McCartney and misses him. This is way out in the pocket and nowhere near goal. I'd like to see them kick a goal from there, and he's taken it over the line for a throw-in. Well, why wouldn't Rocker shoot for goal?
Well, the kick was on because McCartney was 30 metres from his nearest opponent, but a player, you said it a couple of minutes ago, Robbo, it's inexcusable for Stephen Ryan to kick the ball out of bounds on the full, but really there was no excuse for Rocker missing McCartney.
Well, he couldn't have been too confident about getting the distance if he goes for the short pass. You thought he might have been able to kick it from there.
No problem for him.
Bugle's gone off and Lawson's back on, and here he is, little Jamie Lawson. He's not the smallest after all. Centre wing, Willie Rioli. Go, Willie! There are 9 brothers in this family. One of them's the coach, 2 of them are in the team, and Willie just says, catch me if you can. Off to Jones, but Jones' kick is disappointing.
They named a movie after him, haven't they? Free Willie. Willie Rioli. He's been loose all day. Here's a chance now for Williams. Williams at centre-half back for Collingwood. Kicks it in towards the centre of the ground. The bounce favours McCartney. Onto the left foot goes Jason McCartney and delivers quite well. Hits that player, number 41, Thompson, on the chest. He dropped it, recovered, went to the goal square, and the mark of the day. Dale Kickett, has it been paid?
Yes, it has been paid. A great effort.
Oh, what a great leap.
I remember when he was playing with St Kilda a couple of years ago, Robbo. He took one of those marks on the member side wing. It was a fantastic performance.
Dale Kickett.
That might be a handy time. It might nearly get him the votes. He's had a terrific game.
He has played well. And he's been quite disciplined too. I'm sure Essendon would be very impressed. Here's Francis. Close to the boundary line. He gives the hand pass away. Lawson in trouble, but brilliantly gets it back to Francis. Gee, that was good stuff.
And great support there from Francis.
Francis had kicked a half forward. Watson is there for Collingwood. In there was McLean. Umpire says all clear. Throw it in, please. Boundary umpire. Right half forward now for the All Stars. They lead 13-8 to 9-7. Christian in trouble. Knocks it onto Butcher. Nearly run down. Gets the kick away. Back towards the centre of the ground where Ryan has got the football. This time his kick is good. And the mark has been taken by Rocker. 50 metres from goal.
Now he's slightly further out this time, Robbo. He'll be probably kicking from about 55.
They'll still make it.
Well, James is back in the goal square. That's Aaron James, young player for Collingwood, but the football with Rocker. He's got to judge this because the kick from the 50-metre line, oh, it's a good kick. Got the distance easily, it's a goal. Well, he'd have to ask himself the question now, why did he shoot for goal when he went for the carton just a few minutes ago?
Well, it was unselfish play, I suppose, team play, going for that option, but as you say, Robbo, he can kick 50 metres, not a problem.
He's going to be a key player, isn't he, for Collingwood this year, by the look of it, Cyril Rioli?
Oh, well, a good performance last year, over 70 goals, averaging almost 4 goals a game.
Well, Collingwood have been up here before. They lost to the Eagles in a Foster's Cup game 2 years ago. They played in the heat at the Gabba, the game after they won the premiership in 1990, and lost there to the Bears. So their visits to very sticky climbs have always come away with nothing. Ryan, 54. He's unattached to Collingwood. He was a former leading goal kicker for Richmond, Stephen Ryan. And Gubby Allen was saying before the game, they're not even sure where they really should be playing him, but that's the state of play. A list of 42, they didn't have enough players to make up this squad of 26. Gilbert McAdam goes short. Lawson, half volley pickup. Straight to centre half forward. No mark, no free kick. Collingwood get it out of defence across the half back line. That was Sharkey. And the ball goes out of play and we'll have a throw in.
Tony Shaw back on, replacing another old-timer, Peter Dacos, having a spell. Really, the conditions here wouldn't suit the old-timers trying to really make an impression.
Old-timers?
Well, they are old-timers, aren't they?
I'll be after you.
Close to the boundary line. Watson happy to see it out. Closing stages of this game. It's been a great success this day. We had an NTFL game and then a Tiwi Island game and then the All Stars versus Collingwood, and the crowd's been enthralled. They've turned up in huge numbers from, well, all over the territory, and the media from all over Australia. Such has been the interest in this game. The Prime Minister tossed the coin, and it was bad for Collingwood from the word go, and Michael McLean won the toss. Here goes Ryan.
Ryan is on centre wing after 2 bounces. Kick towards half forward, broken down. A mark has been taken. No, it's a free kick to go to Collingwood. Being held was Aaron James, and he'll take the free kick just outside 50 metres. Looking for the pass is Ryan. but he's going to kick it long in towards the goal square. And he gets pretty good distance with the kick too. But off the hands of the players in the square and through for one behind to Collingwood. So they proceed to 10 goals 8. The All Stars are 13 goals 8. But just 3.5 minutes left as Russell Jeffrey kicks in and finds at half-back Gilbert McAdam. McAdam runs away. Short kick in towards the centre of the ground. It's taken by Campbell. He kicks in towards full forward. Marking contest. No one can take it. Crumbs are picked up by McLean. He gets it wide. Done. Goes for his 6th goal. And misses to the right-hand side. Bad luck. That was good quick play by McLean to get the ball clear. Just about get my vote, Michael McLean. He's been very good around the centre of the ground and led the side quite capably. This is Sharkey to kick in for Collingwood. He comes to the near side half-back flank region. Up goes Christian. Little tap on for Butcher. Back he goes to Curley. Christian in trouble. Rioli's got him.
That's been a feature, hasn't it, of the All Stars play this afternoon? They're tackling.
You nearly go for this bloke too, wouldn't you, Drew?
Oh, he's been fantastic, hasn't he, Willie Rioli?
He gives away a bit of ground.
Cyril's back on.
And kicks it back to Cyril Rioli. Short kick again. Hasn't quite come off. But good recovery there by Lawson. Rioli went in to affect the shepherd. Kick in towards the centre of the ground. At the back, McAdam. Breaks clear. Williams trying to run him down. Opportunity now for Hogan. Handballs away to Cable. Cable, wobbly punt kick. Off the side of his boot. Kick off the ground. Back there by Curley, was it? And it goes out. No, Sharkey. And it goes out for a throw-in about 35 metres around from the Collingwood All-Stars goal.
How's this for a stat? Cyril Rioli has played in 8 league premierships and he's 26 years old. That's not bad. Plays for St Mary's up here. They just win every year. 8 premierships as a 26-year-old.
Might have a few problems this year after North Darwin inflicted their defeat earlier in the day, but they have had a tremendous record, that St Mary's club.
Well, you can make some excuses for St Mary's today because of 5 players are in this side here.
Too true.
Whistle's gone. Infringement in the marking contest, and the free kick to Willie, who is definitely the hero today at Marrara. That crowd love him. Centres the ball, and it's just really keepings off at the moment. Armat. Lawson. Jamie Lawson way too far out for him to score. These still conditions. High humidity, but not as hot as, well, Collingwood feared on their way up here. Heavy cloud cover all day. And Jamie Lawson's not too sure. There goes his pass. White got underneath the ball, but he's still a chance. White applied the tackle when the ball wasn't there, and the free kick is going to Jason Wild, New South Wales Teal Cup player in Collingwood colours.
And a bit of a goal from all reports. He kicks it out towards the half-back region. It's punched back towards McLean, who gathers quite nicely, and his kick knocked away by Gafer, taken by Wild for his 2nd possession. That kick just a little ordinary, in towards the centre. James, beaten for it by Willie Rioli, away for Cable. Cable kicks in towards the right forward pocket area. Good disciplined play there by Jones, who was behind Christian at the time and punched it over for a boundary throw-in. It's been a fairly good all-round performance. Maurice Rioli being congratulated on the boundary line. He's the coach of the Aboriginal All Stars. Sid Jackson, one of the selectors. Barry Cable, a selector. And Bill Dempsey.
Bill Dempsey from Perth.
Was the other person to make up the selection panel for this Aboriginal All-Star team, which has come from all over the place. The Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia, Queensland. There's the siren. And victory to the All-Stars. It's a popular one too here in Darwin. And the boys are pretty happy. Collingwood disappointed. But look at the cheers coming from the crowd. The All-Stars win 13-10-88. Collingwood 10-8-68.
I think any team that you especially represent an Aboriginal All Stars team. I think you always, the memories of playing, in a team together will always be very special. And years down the track, obviously, hopefully you'll bump into, or nowadays, with the social media side of things, of Facebook and stuff. So, so back then, so you always have a special memory.
I know I definitely felt like it was, through football you can learn a lot, and we definitely teach a lot through football. Ironically and disappointingly, it wasn't for another 18 months until Damien Monkhurst and Michael Long, there was an incident in '95 on Anzac Day, and so we clearly didn't solve all of the ills in early '94, and it's never going to be solved in one or two incidents. But Michael Long's stance 18 months later, and even the way that Monkey stood up, took ownership for it, and accepted Michael's perspective, and learnt a lot about the issue of racism and vilification in sport and in general. So I think it was just '94, and the game in Darwin with the Aboriginal All Stars was just another learning process for all of us, really, on how we need to be more conscious about how our actions affect others.
For the best Collingwood player, and strangely enough, on his old home ground, Nathan Buckley.
It felt really weird because I can't recall playing that well. It felt like a little bit of the NT boy has come home, and here's a consolation prize for losing the game.
I agree with you up there, but anyway, thanks for coming along today. I think it's good for this game to go ahead. I think it was a good result for the boys, and I congratulate them. We tried hard, we weren't good enough on the day, and maybe we can have another one of these later on. Thanks.
I think at some point I did say, sort of when I took the mic, that I agreed with the people that were giving me the jeers in the crowd. If I reflect on like growing up in Darwin, even though I said I felt we sort of grew up in a multicultural environment, I felt like a minority myself, like as a skinny, really white kid up there. But I was really well supported. Dad was director of the state director or territory director of coaching, and he was very methodical in his manner and in his way and his expectations. So that wasn't necessarily the territory way. And that rubbed off on me a little bit. So as a young man, I probably wasn't. There wasn't a lot of the territory that had rubbed off on me. But to have the experience to continue to go back there and to play those games in those early '90s really consolidated my love of the game, my gratitude for the experiences I had in Darwin, and the things that I learnt up there that have really helped me along my journey coming down to Melbourne and through my AFL experience. As I speak, it's National Reconciliation Week, and chatting to Trav Varco this morning at training around it and about it, and the acknowledgement and the focus on how important it is to reconcile and to own up to what has happened in the past and the failings of leadership, of government, and now to acknowledge that, but then to move forward into today and how we can optimise the value of each other through the way that we treat each other and the way that we communicate with one another, I think is a fantastic thing. The game in '94 was an acknowledgement that, hey, the communication hasn't been right, we can do this better. There's so much for us to learn if we could actually stop for a second and actually get the other perspective, a perspective that we don't have. So I think that coming through in the last couple of decades has been something I've been really proud of. Australians in general being more open-minded and understanding other people's perspectives, and the fact that our Indigenous community have been have had to go through the journey that they have over generations is a big thing to learn about. It's a big thing to deal with. It's not something that's going to be fixed, with a click of a fingers or one game here or one game there. So it's an ongoing challenge and process, and I think that we're doing it a lot better, but there's still a way to go.
Yes, I have played a fair bit of footy, so this is pretty high up on the list of mine. To be, especially to be coached by an older brother, and then also the team running around in the team with a younger brother as well. So rates, very highly for me. So very special. The individual players, do look forward, and obviously would like to get together and play in a team from the all Indigenous players that are playing with AFL clubs at the moment. And their contracts and that are huge. So obviously the AFL team clubs wouldn't, I guess, would be against it. But I think annually it should be played, and the Indigenous All Stars obviously to showcase around Australia.
With our NGA academies, and with trying to access Indigenous talent and provide as many pathways as possible to get into AFL, I think that's something that I think the AFL have done particularly well. As a percentage, the Indigenous population is overrepresented in the AFL community, and that's in a good way, because the athletic traits of an Indigenous player, their attitude, their creativity lends itself to really good footy at the top level. So the more that we can facilitate those pathways, the better. And I personally love seeing the way the Indigenous boys go about it.